One of the most powerful ways to attract wealth that has the power to completely change your money situation forever is learning to listen within. This amazing change doesn't involve working harder at your job or learning complex investment strategies or starting 10 different side businesses. It doesn't require you to read another money book or attend expensive seminars or follow some guru's get-rich-quick plan. This transformation is about something much deeper. It's about the person you need to become on the inside first. Think about this for a moment. How many people do you know who work incredibly hard but never seem to get ahead with money? How many people have you seen try business after business only to end up in the same financial place they started? How many times have you yourself tried different ways to make more money, but somehow you always end up back where you began, or even worse off than before? Here's what most people don't understand about money and wealth. If you want to become wealthy, the truth is you need to feel wealthy on the inside first, before money ever shows up in your bank account. You need to develop a wealthy inner voice before your outer world can reflect that wealth back to you. Otherwise, you'll keep jumping from one money opportunity to another, trying different jobs, different businesses, different investments, always thinking that the problem is somewhere out there in the world. But the real problem isn't out there. The real problem is that you're trying to change your outside world without first changing your inside world. You're trying to make more money without first becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts money. You're trying to build wealth without first building the inner foundation that wealth requires. Let me give you a simple example that will make this crystal clear. Imagine someone who deep down believes they're terrible with money. Maybe they grew up hearing their parents fight about money. Maybe they watched their families struggle financially. Maybe they tried and failed at business before. So now, deep in their heart, they believe, I'm just not good with money. I always make bad financial decisions. Money is hard for me. Now this same person decides they want to become wealthy, so they start working extra hours. They start a side business. They invest in stocks. They do all the right things that wealthy people do. But what happens? The extra hours lead to burnout and they quit. The side business fails because they make poor decisions. The stock investments lose money because they panic and sell at the wrong time. Why does this happen? Because their inner voice, their deep beliefs about money, are still saying, I'm not good with money. And life has no choice but to prove that inner voice right. Their outside world must match their inside world. That's just how reality works. So the first thing you absolutely must understand is this. If you don't change how you feel about money on the inside, nothing will change on the outside. This is not just positive thinking or wishful dreaming. This is the fundamental law of how wealth actually works in the real world. Most people have this completely backwards. They think that once they make more money, then they'll feel wealthy. They think that once they get that promotion or start that business or make that investment, then they'll feel confident about money. But that's like trying to see your reflection in a mirror by changing the reflection instead of changing yourself. You cannot change the reflection without first changing what's creating the reflection. And what's creating your financial reflection, your bank account, your income, your financial opportunities, is your inner voice about money. This is why listening within is so incredibly important for manifesting wealth. Here's the truth that the wealthy understand but never talk about. Wealth is an inside job first and an outside result second. Rich people don't become confident about money because they have money. They have money because they became confident about money first. They developed a wealthy inner voice before their outer world had any reason to support that voice. If you master this inner listening, if you learn to hear and change your inner voice about money, then everything you touch will begin to turn into wealth. Your job will start paying you more. Business opportunities will appear from nowhere. People will start offering you money-making deals. Investments will work out in your favor. It will seem like magic, but it's really just the natural result of having a wealthy inner voice. But here's what most people don't want to hear. This means you have to face your own fears about money and wealth. You have to listen to that inner voice that might be saying some pretty uncomfortable things. You might discover that deep down, you believe you don't deserve wealth. You might realize that you're scared of what people will think if you become successful. You might find out that you actually believe rich people are bad or greedy, and you don't want to become someone you've been judging. These are the inner demons you have to face if you want to manifest real wealth. You can't just ignore them and hope they go away. You can't just cover them up with positive affirmations and expect everything to change. You have to actually listen to these deep beliefs, understand where they came from, and then consciously choose to change them. This is why so many people stay stuck in the same financial situation year after year. They're not willing to do the inner work. They want the outer results without the inner transformation. They want the wealth without becoming a wealthy person on the inside first. But if you're really ready for a significant change in your financial life, if you're tired of the same old money struggles and you want something different, then this inner work is exactly what you need to do. The people who are willing to listen within, who are willing to face their money fears and change their inner voice about wealth, these are the people who experience real financial transformation. When I talk about listening within for wealth, I'm not talking about some mystical or complicated spiritual practice. I'm talking about something very practical and real that anyone can do. Listening within simply means paying attention to your inner voice about money, those thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that are running in the background of your mind all day long. Most people never actually listen to this inner voice. They're so busy trying to make money in the outside world that they never stop to notice what they're telling themselves about money on the inside. But this inner voice is the most powerful force in determining your financial future. It's like having a radio playing in your head all day long, and whatever station that radio is tuned to becomes your reality. Your inner world creates your outer world. This isn't just a nice spiritual saying. It's how life actually works. Everything you see in your external financial situation started as a thought, a belief, or a feeling inside your mind first. Your bank account balance, your income level, your financial opportunities, even your financial problems. All of these are reflections of what's been playing on your inner radio about money. Think about this carefully. If deep down in your heart you believe that you're not good with money, then your life will continue to show you evidence that you're not good with money. You'll make poor financial decisions that prove this belief right. You'll miss opportunities that could help you financially. You'll attract situations that confirm your belief that you're bad with money. But here's the amazing thing. If you change that inner voice, if you start believing deep down that you're naturally good with money, then your life will start showing you evidence of that instead. You'll start making better financial decisions. You'll notice opportunities you never saw before. You'll attract people and situations that help you build wealth. This happens because your subconscious mind is always working to make your outer world match your inner world. It's like having a personal assistant whose only job is to prove that whatever you believe is true. If you believe you're broke, your subconscious will find ways to keep you broke. If you believe you're wealthy, your subconscious will find ways to make you wealthy. Let me give you some examples of what different inner voices about money sound like so you can start to recognize your own patterns. The scarcity inner voice sounds like this. There's never enough money. I always struggle financially. Rich people are greedy, and I don't want to be like them. Money is the root of all evil. I have to work really hard to make any money. Good people don't care about money. I'm not smart enough to be wealthy. I don't deserve to have a lot of money. Money always causes problems in relationships. The abundance inner voice sounds completely different. Money flows to me easily and naturally. I'm great at attracting wealth. There's more than enough money for everyone. Wealthy people do good things with their money. Money is a tool that helps me help others. I make money by providing value to people. I deserve to live abundantly. Money enhances my relationships and helps me take care of the people I love. Can you hear the difference? Can you imagine how these two different inner voices would create completely different financial realities? The person with the scarcity inner voice will unconsciously make choices that keep them financially struggling. The person with the abundance inner voice will naturally make choices that build wealth. But here's what most people don't realize. You get to choose which inner voice plays in your head. You're not stuck with whatever voice you inherited from your family or developed through past experiences. You can consciously change your inner voice about money, and when you do, your outer financial world must change to match it. This is where listening within becomes so important. You have to first become aware of what your current inner voice is saying about money. You can't change something you're not aware of. Most people are completely unconscious of their inner money voice. They've been listening to the same negative beliefs about money for so long that they don't even notice them anymore. So the first step in manifesting wealth is to start paying attention to your inner voice about money. Throughout your day, notice what you're telling yourself when money comes up. When you pay bills, what thoughts go through your mind? When you see expensive things, what do you think? When you think about your financial future, what feelings come up? Don't judge these thoughts and feelings, just notice them. You might be surprised by what you discover. You might find out that you have beliefs about money that you didn't even know you had. You might realize that you've been unconsciously sabotaging your own financial success because of things you learned about money when you were young. Here's a simple way to start listening within about money. Several times throughout your day, especially when anything money-related happens, ask yourself, what am I telling myself about money right now? Then just listen. Don't try to change anything yet. Just become aware of what that inner voice is saying. You might hear things like, I can't afford this. Money is tight this month. I'm not good at managing money. Rich people have it easy. I'll never be able to retire. Money causes too much stress. I should be more responsible with money. I don't make enough. Once you start noticing these patterns, you'll begin to understand why your financial life looks the way it does. Your outer financial world is simply reflecting back to you what your inner voice has been saying about money. If your inner voice is full of worry, struggle, and limitation about money, then your outer world will be full of financial worry, struggle, and limitation. But the beautiful thing is that once you become aware of your inner voice, you can start to change it. You can begin to consciously choose new thoughts and beliefs about money. You can start tuning your inner radio to a different station, one that plays abundance instead of scarcity, confidence instead of fear, possibility instead of limitation. This is not about lying to yourself or pretending you have money when you don't. This is about changing the fundamental beliefs that are creating your financial reality. When you change your inner voice from money is hard to get to money comes to me easily, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing the energy you put out into the world, and that changes what comes back to you. When your inner voice truly believes that money comes easily, you'll start noticing opportunities you never saw before. You'll make different choices, you'll take different actions, you'll attract different people and situations. Your whole relationship with money will transform, and your financial results will transform along with it. The key is that this change has to happen on the inside first. You can't fake it or force it. You have to do the inner work of actually changing what you believe about money at the deepest level. This takes time and practice, but it's the most powerful thing you can do to manifest wealth in your life. The first key to manifesting wealth by listening within is understanding something that most people never realize. Your inner voice about money controls absolutely everything that happens in your financial life. Not some things, not most things, everything. Every dollar that comes into your life, every dollar that goes out, every financial opportunity you get, every financial problem you face, all of it is controlled by that inner voice running in your head about money. This might sound crazy at first, but think about it for a moment. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to have money problems no matter what they do? They get a raise and somehow end up with the same money struggles. They win money and lose it quickly. They start businesses that fail. They make investments that go bad. It's like they have a dark cloud following them around when it comes to money. Then there are other people who seem to turn everything they touch into gold. They get opportunities offered to them out of nowhere. Their investments work out. Their businesses succeed. Money seems to flow to them easily, even when they're not trying that hard. What's the difference between these two types of people? It's not luck, it's not education, it's not even hard work. The difference is their inner voice about money. The person who struggles financially has an inner voice that's constantly saying things like, "I never have enough money. Money is hard to come by. I always have money problems. Something always goes wrong with my finances. I'm just not lucky with money. I can't catch a break financially." This inner voice is like a radio broadcaster announcing these beliefs all day long, and life has no choice but to make these announcements come true. Meanwhile, the person who attracts wealth easily has an inner voice saying completely different things. Money comes to me naturally. I always have what I need. Financial opportunities appear in my life regularly. I'm good at making money. I make smart financial decisions. Money flows to me from expected and unexpected sources. Their inner broadcaster is announcing abundance, so abundance is what shows up in their life. Here's what you need to understand. Your inner voice about money isn't just positive thinking or motivation. It's actually programming your subconscious mind to notice certain things and ignore others, to make certain choices and avoid others, to attract certain people and repel others. Your subconscious mind is like a powerful computer, and your inner voice is the software program that's running on that computer. If your inner voice says, "I never have enough money," then your subconscious mind will make sure you never have enough money. It will cause you to overspend when you should save. It will make you miss opportunities that could increase your income. It will attract situations that drain your money. It will even cause you to unconsciously make choices that keep you financially struggling, because that's what the program is telling it to do. But if your inner voice says money comes to me easily, then your subconscious mind will start working to make that true instead. It will help you notice opportunities you never saw before. It will guide you to make better financial decisions. It will attract people who can help you financially. It will even help you think of creative ways to make money that you never would have thought of before. This is why you can't just change your outer actions and expect your financial life to transform. If you try to make more money while your inner voice is still saying, "I'm bad with money," you'll unconsciously sabotage your own efforts. You might work harder and make more, but then you'll spend it unwisely. You might start a business, but then you'll make decisions that cause it to fail. You might invest money, but then you'll panic and sell at the wrong times. Your outer actions will always be limited by your inner voice. If your inner voice believes you don't deserve wealth, you'll never be able to maintain wealth even if you temporarily acquire it. If your inner voice believes money is hard to get, you'll always struggle to get it no matter how hard you work. If your inner voice believes you're not smart enough to be wealthy, you'll make decisions that prove that belief right. This is why so many people stay stuck in the same financial patterns their whole lives. They keep trying to change their outside circumstances without ever changing their inside programming. They blame the economy, their job, their lack of education, their bad luck, or anything else they can think of. But the real problem is that inner voice that's been running the same negative program about money for years or even decades. Let me give you a specific example of how this works. Let's say someone has an inner voice that says, "Rich people are greedy and selfish." This person might consciously want to become wealthy, but their subconscious mind will resist wealth because it doesn't want to become someone they've been judging as greedy and selfish. So every time they start to make good money, they'll unconsciously do something to sabotage it. They might quit a high-paying job because they feel guilty. They might make bad business decisions that cost them money. They might give their money away too freely because they don't want to seem greedy. The solution isn't to try harder to make money. The solution is to change that inner voice from "rich people are greedy" to something like "wealthy people use their money to do good in the world," or "having money allows me to help more people." Once the inner voice changes, the outer actions naturally change too. Here's another common example. Many people have an inner voice that says, "I don't deserve to have a lot of money." Maybe they learned this from parents who struggled financially and taught them that wanting money was selfish. Maybe they had experiences that made them feel unworthy. Whatever the source, this inner voice will make sure they never feel comfortable having wealth. Even if this person makes good money, they'll find ways to get rid of it. They'll overspend on others. They'll make risky investments that lose money. They'll choose lower-paying jobs than they could qualify for. They'll turn down opportunities that could make them wealthy, all because their inner voice is saying, "I don't deserve this," and their subconscious mind is making sure that belief stays true. But when someone changes their inner voice to "I deserve to live abundantly," and really believes it at a deep level, everything changes. They start making choices that build wealth instead of destroying it. They feel comfortable keeping money instead of giving it all away. They pursue opportunities that match their new belief about what they deserve. The amazing thing is that you have complete control over this inner voice. You weren't born with it. You learned it, and anything that was learned can be unlearned and replaced with something better. You can consciously choose what your inner voice says about money, and when you do, your entire financial reality will begin to shift. The second key to manifesting wealth through inner listening is understanding something that trips up most people. Changes in your inner voice about money don't show up immediately in your bank account. There's always a delay between when you change your inner voice and when you see the results in your outer financial world. If you don't understand this delay, you'll give up right before your breakthrough happens. Think about it like planting a seed in the ground. The moment you plant that seed, you don't expect to see a full-grown tree the next day. You know there's a process that has to happen underground first. The seed has to germinate, grow roots, and develop a strong foundation before you see any growth above ground. But once that foundation is established, the growth becomes visible and often happens very quickly. Your inner voice about money works the same way. When you start changing your beliefs about wealth from scarcity to abundance, those changes are like seeds planted in your subconscious mind. They need time to take root and grow before they manifest as actual money in your life. But most people don't understand this, so they plant the seeds and then dig them up a few days later to see if anything is happening. Here's what typically happens when people start working on their inner voice about money. They begin saying affirmations like, "Money comes to me easily," or "I am wealthy and abundant." They feel excited and motivated. They expect their financial situation to change quickly. But after a week or two, when their bank account looks the same and no money has magically appeared, they get discouraged. They start thinking this inner work doesn't really work. They give up and go back to their old negative inner voice about money. What they don't realize is that the change was actually beginning to happen, but it takes time for inner changes to become outer reality. Their new wealthy inner voice was starting to reprogram their subconscious mind. It was beginning to help them notice opportunities they hadn't seen before. It was starting to attract different people and situations into their life. But they gave up before these changes had time to fully manifest. This is like a farmer planting seeds and then getting frustrated after 2 weeks because he doesn't see any plants growing yet. He digs up the seeds, sees they haven't sprouted, and decides that farming doesn't work. But if he had just waited a little longer and kept watering those seeds, he would have seen amazing growth. The key is to stay faithful to your new inner voice about money long enough for it to show up in your physical reality. You have to keep believing and affirming your new wealthy beliefs, even when your current circumstances don't match those beliefs yet. This requires patience and trust in the process. Let me explain why this delay happens. Your current financial situation is the result of years or even decades of old inner programming about money. Your brain has neural pathways that are deeply carved with thoughts like money is hard to get or I'm not good with money. These old pathways don't disappear overnight. It takes time and repetition to create new neural pathways that support wealth and abundance. Meanwhile, your outer world, your job, your relationships, your living situation, your daily habits, all of these are set up to support your old financial identity. If you've been living as someone who struggles with money, then everything in your environment reflects that identity. It takes time for your environment to shift and align with your new, wealthy inner voice. But here's the amazing thing. Once your new inner voice becomes strong enough and you've maintained it long enough, the changes in your outer world often happen very quickly. It's like when a dam bursts, the water builds up slowly behind the dam, and then suddenly it all rushes out at once. Your wealth manifestation works the same way. The changes build up gradually in the invisible realm, and then they appear in your physical world all at once. I've seen this happen over and over again with people who stick with changing their inner voice about money. They work on their beliefs for months, sometimes even a year or more, without seeing dramatic changes in their income. They get discouraged and wonder if it's working, but they keep going anyway. Then suddenly, everything shifts. They get a promotion they weren't expecting. A business opportunity appears out of nowhere. An investment pays off big. Multiple income streams start flowing at the same time. All that inner work suddenly shows up as outer results. The problem is that most people quit during the invisible stage before the visible results appear. They don't realize that the delay doesn't mean it's not working. It means it's working exactly the way it's supposed to work. The subconscious mind needs time to reorganize everything in your life to match your new inner voice about money. During this waiting period, it's crucial that you don't let doubt creep in. Your old inner voice will try to make a comeback. It will point to your current bank account and say, "See, this inner work isn't working. You still don't have money. You have to be ready for this," and refuse to listen. Instead, keep affirming your new wealthy inner voice. Keep acting as if your new beliefs about money are already true. This is where most people fail. They start strong with their new inner voice, but then they let their current circumstances convince them to go back to their old way of thinking. They look at their bills and start worrying. They see their bank account and start doubting. They hear about economic problems and start fearing. All of this doubt and fear cancels out the positive inner work they've been doing. You have to understand that your current financial situation is old news. It's the result of your old inner voice about money. It has nothing to do with what's possible for you now that you're changing your inner programming. Don't let your current circumstances dictate what you believe about your financial future. Instead, look for small signs that your new inner voice is beginning to work. Maybe you find unexpected money in an old jacket. Maybe someone pays you back money you had forgotten about. Maybe you get a small raise or bonus. Maybe you think of a new way to make extra income. These small changes are evidence that your inner work is beginning to manifest in the physical world. When you see these small signs, celebrate them. Don't dismiss them as coincidences. Recognize them as proof that your new inner voice about money is starting to create your new financial reality. This builds your faith and helps you maintain your new beliefs even longer. Remember, the goal isn't just to have money temporarily. The goal is to become the kind of person who naturally attracts and maintains wealth. That kind of transformation takes time. You're not just changing your bank account. You're changing your entire identity around money. You're becoming a wealthy person from the inside out. That's a process that requires patience, but the results are worth the wait. The third key to manifesting wealth through inner listening is understanding something that completely changes how you think and talk about money. Your inner voice doesn't care whether you're complaining about money or celebrating money. It just creates more of whatever you focus on most. If you spend your day thinking about not having enough money, your inner voice will make sure you continue to not have enough money. But if you spend your day thinking about having plenty of money, your inner voice will work to make that your reality instead. This is one of the most important principles you need to understand about how your inner voice works. It's like having a very literal personal assistant who takes everything you say as an instruction. If you keep saying, "I hate being broke," your inner voice hears, "Create more experiences of being broke." If you keep saying, "I can't afford this," your inner voice hears, "Make sure I can't afford things." If you keep saying, "Money is so tight this month," your inner voice hears, "Keep money tight." Most people spend their entire day focusing on what they don't have instead of what they do have or want to have. They wake up and immediately start thinking about bills they need to pay. They look at prices and think about how expensive everything is. They worry about not having enough money for retirement. They complain about their low income. They stress about unexpected expenses. All day long, they're feeding their inner voice with thoughts about financial lack and struggle. Then they wonder why their financial situation never improves. They wonder why they keep having money problems. They wonder why opportunities don't come their way. But their inner voice is just doing exactly what they've been programming it to do. Create more experiences that match their focus on financial lack. Here's what most people don't realize. When you complain about money, you're not just venting or expressing frustration. You're actually placing an order with the universe for more things to complain about. When you worry about not having enough money, you're not being responsible or realistic. You're programming your subconscious mind to make sure you continue to not have enough. Let me give you some specific examples of how this works. If you constantly think thoughts like, "I hate these bills," your inner voice doesn't hear the hate. It hears bills and creates more bill-paying situations for you to deal with. If you think, "I'm so tired of being broke," your inner voice focuses on being broke and finds ways to keep you in that financial state. If you think, "Money always causes problems in my life," your inner voice will make sure money continues to cause problems. But here's the amazing thing. You can flip this principle and use it to your advantage. Instead of focusing on what you lack financially, you can train yourself to focus on financial abundance. Instead of thinking about bills you can't pay, you can think about money flowing to you easily. Instead of worrying about not having enough, you can imagine having more than enough. The key is to understand that your inner voice responds to the content of your thoughts, not the emotion behind them. Whether you're angry, sad, happy, or excited, your inner voice will create more of whatever you're thinking about most. So if you want to manifest wealth, you need to make wealth and abundance the primary content of your inner voice, regardless of how you feel about your current financial situation. This means changing the way you think and talk about money throughout your entire day. Instead of saying, "I can't afford this," start saying, "I choose not to buy this right now," or "Money is coming to me so I can afford what I want." Instead of thinking, "I'm so broke," start thinking, "Money is flowing to me from multiple sources." Instead of worrying, "What if I don't have enough money?" start imagining, "I always have more than enough money for everything I need and want." I know this might feel fake or forced at first, especially if your current financial situation doesn't match these positive thoughts. But remember, your current situation is the result of years of negative inner programming about money. If you want different results, you have to give your inner voice different programming to work with. This isn't about lying to yourself or pretending you have money when you don't. This is about training your inner voice to focus on the financial reality you want to create instead of the financial reality you want to escape. You're not denying your current circumstances. You're refusing to let your current circumstances program your future circumstances. Think of it this way. If you were trying to lose weight, would you spend all day thinking about how fat you are and how much you hate your body? Of course not. That would make you feel worse and probably cause you to eat more. Instead, you would focus on becoming healthier, feeling stronger, and looking better. You would program your mind with thoughts of your ideal body, not your current body. The same principle applies to money. If you want to build wealth, you can't spend all day thinking about how broke you are and how much you hate your financial situation. That just programs your inner voice to create more financial struggle. Instead, you need to focus your thoughts on financial abundance, money flowing easily, and yourself as someone who is naturally good with money. Here's a simple way to start applying this principle today. Throughout your day, pay attention to what you're thinking and saying about money. Every time you catch yourself focusing on financial lack, worrying about bills, complaining about prices, stressing about money, immediately switch your focus to financial abundance instead. If you catch yourself thinking, "I don't have enough money for this," change it to, "Money is coming to me so I can afford what I want." If you catch yourself saying, "Money is so tight," change it to, "Money flows to me easily and freely." If you catch yourself worrying about your financial future, change it to imagining yourself financially secure and abundant. At first, this will feel awkward and unnatural. Your old inner voice will resist and try to pull you back into focusing on lack. But if you keep practicing this shift consistently, it will become more natural. Eventually, focusing on abundance will become your default way of thinking about money. You can also start each day by consciously programming your inner voice with abundant thoughts about money. Before you get out of bed, spend a few minutes thinking about money flowing to you. Imagine your bank account growing. Picture yourself easily paying all your bills and having money left over. Visualize opportunities to make money appearing in your life. This sets the tone for your inner voice for the entire day. Remember, your inner voice is always working, whether you're conscious of it or not. If you don't deliberately program it with thoughts of abundance, it will default to whatever programming you've given it in the past, which for most people is programming based on lack and struggle. But when you consciously choose to focus on abundance instead of lack, you give your inner voice the raw material it needs to create a wealthy reality for you. The difference between people who struggle financially and people who build wealth isn't their circumstances, their education, or their opportunities. The difference is what they focus on in their inner voice about money. Wealthy people focus on abundance, possibilities, and having money. Struggling people focus on lack, limitations, and not having money. Your inner voice will create whichever reality you feed it most consistently. The fourth and most powerful key to manifesting wealth through inner listening is learning to break the cycle that keeps most people trapped in financial struggle their entire lives. This cycle is so common and so automatic that most people don't even realize they're stuck in it. But once you understand how this cycle works and learn to break it, you'll literally see your financial reality transform before your eyes. Here's how the poor money cycle works for most people. First, they look at their current financial situation, their bank account, their bills, their income, their debts. They observe their financial reality as it exists right now. Then, based on what they see, they form their inner voice about money. If they see that they're struggling financially, their inner voice says, "I don't have enough money. Money is hard for me. I'm always broke." Then this inner voice creates thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that match what they observed. Next, their inner voice influences their actions and decisions. If their inner voice says, "I never have enough money," they'll make choices based on scarcity. They'll avoid opportunities that require investment. They'll think small instead of big. They'll focus on saving pennies instead of making dollars. They'll operate from fear instead of confidence. These scarcity-based actions then create results that match their scarcity mindset. Finally, these results show up in their external financial world, giving them even more evidence that they don't have enough money. They look at their bank account and see that it's still low. They look at their income and see that it hasn't increased. They look at their financial situation and see more of the same struggle. This confirms their original observation that money is hard for them, and the cycle starts all over again. This is why so many people stay stuck in the same financial situation year after year, decade after decade. They're trapped in a cycle where their current financial reality keeps creating more of the same financial reality. They observe struggle, which creates a struggling inner voice, which creates struggling actions, which creates more struggle to observe. It's like being stuck in a loop that just keeps repeating itself. But here's the amazing thing about this cycle. You can break it and reverse it completely. Instead of starting with observing your current financial reality, you can start with creating the inner voice you want to have about money. Instead of letting your current circumstances dictate your beliefs, you can let your desired beliefs start creating new circumstances. Most people are living as puppets of their financial circumstances. Their bank account tells them how to feel about money. Their bills tell them what to believe about their financial future. Their current income tells them what's possible for them financially. They're letting their external world control their internal world, and this keeps them stuck in the same patterns forever. But if you want to become a true creator of your financial reality, you need to reverse this process completely. You need to start with the inner voice you want to have about money, regardless of what your current financial situation looks like. You need to turn your back on your current financial reflection and focus instead on creating the inner image that will produce the financial reflection you actually want. Here's how to break the poor money cycle and create the wealthy money cycle instead. First, instead of observing your current financial struggle, you start by consciously choosing the inner voice you want to have about money. You decide that your inner voice will say things like, "Money comes to me easily. I am wealthy and abundant. Financial opportunities appear in my life regularly. I make excellent financial decisions. Money flows to me from multiple sources." You choose this inner voice not because it matches your current reality, but because you want it to become your future reality. You're not lying to yourself or denying your current circumstances. You're simply refusing to let your current circumstances program your future circumstances. You're taking control of the programming process instead of letting it happen automatically based on what you can see right now. Next, you need to understand that your current financial situation is old news. Everything you see in your financial life right now, your bank account balance, your income level, your bills, your debts, all of this is the result of decisions and inner programming from the past. It has nothing to do with what's possible for you now that you're changing your inner voice about money. This is crucial to understand because your current financial situation will try to convince you that your new inner voice isn't working. Your bank account will still look the same for a while. Your bills will still be there. Your income might not change immediately, but you have to realize that these things are just reflecting your old inner programming. They're like echoes from the past that will fade away as your new inner voice becomes stronger. Instead of focusing on these old reflections, you need to look for small signs that your new inner voice is beginning to work. Maybe you find $1 on the ground. Maybe someone offers to buy you lunch. Maybe you get a small, unexpected refund. Maybe you think of a way to save money on something you need to buy. These might seem like tiny, insignificant things, but they're actually proof that your new inner voice is starting to create a new financial reality. The key is to celebrate these small signs instead of dismissing them. When something good happens financially, no matter how small, you need to say, "Yes. This is evidence that my new inner voice about money is working. This shows that money is beginning to flow to me more easily." By celebrating these small victories, you're confirming your new beliefs and making them stronger. This is completely different from what most people do. Most people ignore the small positive financial things that happen and focus only on the big problems. They don't notice the dollar they found, but they stress about the $100 bill they have to pay. They don't appreciate the free lunch someone bought them, but they worry about the expensive dinner they can't afford. This keeps them stuck in the old cycle of focusing on financial lack. But when you start looking for and celebrating small signs of financial abundance, you're training your inner voice to notice more abundance. You're programming your subconscious mind to see opportunities instead of obstacles. You're shifting your focus from what's wrong with your financial picture to what's right with it. As you continue this process, choosing an abundant inner voice, ignoring old financial reflections, and celebrating small signs of improvement, something magical starts to happen. The small signs become bigger signs. The occasional positive financial event becomes regular positive financial events. The little bits of extra money become larger amounts of money. Your whole financial world begins to shift in the direction of your new inner voice. Eventually, your external financial reality will completely match your internal financial voice. Your bank account will reflect abundance instead of struggle. Your income will reflect your belief that money comes easily instead of your old belief that money is hard to get. Your opportunities will reflect your new identity as someone who is naturally good with money. But this transformation only happens if you're willing to break the old cycle and start the new cycle. You have to be willing to stop letting your current circumstances control your inner voice about money. You have to be willing to choose your beliefs based on what you want to create, not based on what you can see right now. You have to be willing to celebrate small improvements instead of focusing on big problems. This takes courage because you're essentially turning your back on the evidence that everyone else thinks you should pay attention to. When people ask you about your financial situation, you might want to complain along with them about how hard money is. But instead, you need to focus on the positive financial things that are happening in your life, even if they seem small to other people. Remember, you're not trying to convince anyone else that this works. You're not trying to prove anything to other people. You're simply taking control of your own inner programming about money so that you can create the financial life you actually want, instead of staying stuck in the financial life you don't want. I want to share something personal with you because what I'm teaching you about listening within for wealth isn't just theory for me. It's something I've lived through and experienced firsthand. I'm sharing this because I know that when you're struggling financially and someone tells you that changing your inner voice can change your bank account, it can sound too good to be true. I felt the same way when I first learned about this, but my own experience proved to me that this is absolutely real and it really works. A few years ago, I was in a completely different financial situation than I am today. I was working a job that barely paid my bills, living paycheck to paycheck, and constantly worried about money. I had tried everything I could think of to improve my financial situation. I worked extra hours, took on side jobs, applied for better positions, even tried starting small businesses on the side. But no matter what I did, I always seemed to end up back in the same place financially. I was frustrated and confused because I was working hard and doing all the things that people said would help me make more money, but my bank account never seemed to grow. I would make a little extra money, and then unexpected expenses would come up that ate it all. I would start to get ahead, and then something would happen that knocked me back down. It felt like I was stuck in a pattern that I couldn't break no matter what I tried. That's when I first heard about the idea that your inner beliefs about money control your outer financial results. At first, I thought it was complete nonsense. I was a practical person who believed in hard work and taking action. The idea that my thoughts and beliefs could actually influence how much money I made seemed like wishful thinking or magical fantasy. I almost dismissed it completely. But I was desperate enough to try anything, so I decided to pay attention to my inner voice about money for a few days, just to see what I would discover. What I found shocked me. I realized that all day long I was having thoughts like, I never have enough money. Money is so hard to come by. I'm just not good with finances, and something always goes wrong with my money. I had no idea that I was constantly programming my mind with these negative beliefs about money. Even more surprising was realizing that these weren't just random thoughts. They were beliefs I had learned from my family growing up. My parents always struggled with money and were constantly stressed about finances. I had absorbed their beliefs about money without even realizing it. Their inner voice about money had become my inner voice about money, and it was creating the same financial struggles in my life that they had experienced in theirs. Once I became aware of these negative patterns in my thinking, I decided to experiment with changing them. I started consciously replacing thoughts like, I never have enough money, with thoughts like, money comes to me easily and naturally. When I caught myself worrying about bills, I would instead imagine money flowing to me to pay those bills easily. When I felt stressed about my financial future, I would picture myself financially secure and abundant. I'll be honest with you. At first, this felt completely fake and forced. My current circumstances were telling me one story about money, but I was trying to tell myself a completely different story. There were days when I felt silly repeating positive statements about money while looking at my nearly empty bank account. My logical mind kept saying, this is ridiculous. You can't just think your way to wealth. But I kept doing it anyway because I figured I had nothing to lose. My old way of thinking about money clearly wasn't working, so maybe it was worth trying something different. I made a commitment to myself to change my inner voice about money for at least 6 months, regardless of what my external circumstances looked like during that time. The first few weeks, nothing seemed to change externally. My income was the same, my expenses were the same, my bank account looked the same, but I started to notice that I felt different about money. Instead of constant anxiety and stress about finances, I began to feel more calm and confident. Instead of dreading checking my bank account, I started to feel more neutral about it. These seemed like small changes, but they were actually the beginning of everything shifting. After about a month of consistently changing my inner voice about money, I started to notice small positive changes in my external situation. I found $20 in an old jacket pocket. A friend paid me back money I had forgotten they owed me. I got a small bonus at work that I wasn't expecting. None of these things were life-changing amounts of money, but they were signs that something was beginning to shift. Instead of dismissing these small improvements as coincidences, I celebrated them as evidence that my new inner voice about money was starting to work. Every time something positive happened financially, no matter how small, I would say, "This proves that money is starting to flow to me more easily." This celebration made me feel more confident about the process and helped me stay committed to my new way of thinking about money. As I continued this practice over the next several months, the positive financial changes became bigger and more frequent. I received an unexpected raise at work. A business opportunity was offered to me by someone I barely knew. An investment I had forgotten about paid out more than I expected. People started approaching me with ways to make extra money that I had never considered before. But the most amazing thing was that I started making different financial decisions naturally. Instead of always choosing the cheapest option out of fear, I started making choices based on value and long-term thinking. Instead of avoiding financial opportunities because they required some risk, I started feeling confident enough to invest in myself and my future. Instead of constantly worrying about money, I started trusting that I would always have what I needed. Within about 8 months of starting this inner work, my financial situation had completely transformed. My income had doubled, I had money saved for the first time in years, and I felt completely different about money. But the most surprising thing was that this transformation didn't require me to work harder or learn complex financial strategies. The main thing that changed was my inner voice about money, and everything else changed as a result of that. What really convinced me that this was real and not just coincidence was that I could see the direct connection between my inner voice and my outer results. When I stayed consistent with positive, abundant thoughts about money, positive financial things happened. When I occasionally slipped back into old patterns of worry and scarcity thinking, I would experience financial setbacks that matched those thoughts. I realized that I had spent years unconsciously creating financial struggle through my inner voice, and now I was consciously creating financial abundance through that same inner voice. The process was the same. The only difference was that now I was aware of it and using it intentionally instead of accidentally. This experience completely changed how I understand money and wealth. I realized that financial success isn't primarily about external strategies and tactics. It's about the internal programming that drives all of your financial decisions and attracts all of your financial opportunities. Once you get your inner voice aligned with abundance instead of scarcity, the external strategies become much more effective because you're working with your subconscious mind instead of against it. That's why I'm so passionate about sharing this message with you. I know from personal experience that this isn't just positive thinking or wishful dreaming. This is a real process that can create real changes in your financial life if you're willing to commit to it and stick with it even when you don't see immediate results. Now, I want to give you a simple but powerful exercise that you can start doing today to begin transforming your inner voice about money. This is the same exercise that I still practice regularly, and it's something that anyone can do regardless of their current financial situation or background. The beauty of this exercise is that it doesn't require any money, any special skills, or any external resources. Just your willingness to listen within and make a conscious choice about what you want your inner voice to say about money. This exercise has 2 parts, and both parts are equally important. The first part is about becoming aware of your current inner voice about money, and the second part is about consciously choosing a new inner voice that will create the financial reality you actually want. Most people skip the first part and jump straight to positive affirmations, but that's like trying to change the destination on a GPS without first knowing where you are right now. You need to understand your starting point before you can effectively navigate to where you want to go. Here's how to do the first part of the exercise. Find a quiet place where you won't be interrupted for about 10 minutes. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths to help yourself relax. Then ask yourself this simple question: what do I really believe about money deep down inside? Don't think about what you should believe or what you want to believe. Just listen to whatever comes up first in response to this question. The key is to listen without judging what you hear. You might hear thoughts like, money is hard to get, I'm not good with money, rich people are greedy, I don't deserve to have a lot of money, money causes problems in relationships, or I'll never be able to make enough money. These might not be pleasant thoughts to hear, but it's important to become aware of them because they're the programming that's currently creating your financial reality. Write down whatever you hear, even if it sounds negative or limiting. Don't try to change these thoughts yet. Just become conscious of them. This awareness is the first step in transformation because you can't change something that you're not aware of. Many people are completely unconscious of their deep beliefs about money, which is why they stay stuck in the same financial patterns year after year. You might also ask yourself follow-up questions like, where did these beliefs come from? Often you'll realize that your beliefs about money came from your parents, your childhood experiences, or things that happened to you in the past. Understanding the source of these beliefs helps you realize that they're not facts about reality. They're just learned patterns that can be unlearned and replaced with better patterns. Once you've identified your current inner voice about money, you're ready for the second part of the exercise. This is where you consciously choose what you want your new inner voice to say about money. Think about the kind of financial life you want to create. Do you want money to come to you easily? Do you want to feel confident about your financial decisions? Do you want to have more than enough money for everything you need and want? Do you want to use your wealth to help others and make a positive difference in the world? Based on the financial reality you want to create, choose new beliefs that would support that reality. If you want money to come easily, your new inner voice might say, money flows to me naturally and effortlessly. If you want to feel confident about finances, it might say, I make excellent financial decisions and I trust my ability to create wealth. If you want to have abundance, it might say, I always have more than enough money for everything I need and want. Write down these new beliefs about money and make them as specific and personal as possible. Instead of generic statements, create beliefs that feel meaningful and exciting to you personally. The more your new inner voice resonates with who you want to become, the more powerful it will be in creating change in your life. Now comes the most important part of the exercise. You need to start feeding these new beliefs to your inner voice every single day. Set aside time each morning and evening to read your new money beliefs out loud. As you say them, try to feel them in your body. Imagine what it would feel like if these beliefs were already completely true in your life. Picture yourself living the financial reality that these beliefs would create. Don't worry if these new beliefs feel fake or forced at first. That's completely normal and expected. You're essentially learning a new language, the language of abundance instead of the language of scarcity. Like any new language, it takes time and practice before it starts to feel natural. The key is to be consistent and patient with the process. Throughout your day, whenever you notice your old inner voice about money trying to make a comeback, immediately replace those old thoughts with your new chosen beliefs. If you catch yourself thinking, "I can't afford this," immediately change it to one of your new abundant thoughts. If you catch yourself worrying about money, immediately shift to imagining money flowing to you easily. This might seem like a simple exercise, but don't let its simplicity fool you. This is one of the most powerful things you can do to transform your financial life because it works directly with the subconscious programming that controls all of your financial decisions and opportunities. When you consistently feed your mind new beliefs about money, your subconscious mind will start working to make those beliefs true in your external reality. Remember, this exercise works best when you practice it consistently over time. Don't expect overnight miracles, but do expect gradual positive changes in how you think about money, how you feel about money, and eventually in your actual financial circumstances. The people who get the best results are those who commit to doing this exercise daily for at least several months, regardless of what their external circumstances look like during that time. One final tip: keep a journal of any positive financial changes you notice, no matter how small they might seem. When you find unexpected money, when someone treats you to something, when you get a discount or save money somehow, when financial opportunities appear, write all of these down. This helps you see the connection between your inner work and your outer results, which builds your confidence and helps you stay committed to the process. If this message about listening within for wealth has spoken to your heart and resonated with something deep inside you, then you're ready to begin a journey that can completely transform your relationship with money forever. Everything I've shared with you today isn't just theory or positive thinking. It's a practical, proven process that has worked for countless people who were willing to do the inner work required to create outer financial transformation. The most important thing to remember is that wealth truly is an inside job first and an outside result second. You cannot create lasting financial abundance in your external world until you first create it in your inner world through the voice that speaks to you about money all day long. This inner voice is the most powerful force in determining your financial future, and the amazing news is that you have complete control over what this voice says. You now understand the 4 keys to manifesting wealth through inner listening. You know that your inner voice about money controls everything that happens in your financial life, and that by changing this voice, you can change your entire financial reality. You understand that changes take time to manifest in the physical world, but that persistence and patience with your new inner programming will eventually create breakthrough results that might surprise you. You've learned that your inner voice amplifies whatever you focus on most, whether that's financial lack or financial abundance, so focusing your thoughts on having money rather than lacking money is crucial for creating wealth. And you now know how to break the poor money cycle that keeps most people trapped in financial struggle by starting with your desired inner voice instead of your current outer circumstances. Most importantly, you have a simple but powerful exercise that you can begin using immediately to start transforming your inner voice about money. This exercise costs nothing, requires nothing except your commitment, and can be done by anyone regardless of their current financial situation. The only question is whether you're willing to commit to doing the inner work consistently over time. I want to encourage you to take action on what you've learned today. Don't let this just be interesting information that you think about for a few days and then forget. Your financial future depends on the inner voice you choose to cultivate about money, and that cultivation happens through daily practice and conscious choice. Every day that you continue with your old inner programming about money is another day that you're creating more of the same financial results you've been getting. But every day that you choose to consciously program your inner voice with abundance, confidence, and wealth is a day that you're building the foundation for a completely different financial future. The compound effect of this daily inner work is more powerful than most people can imagine because it's working at the level of subconscious programming that controls all of your financial decisions and attracts all of your financial opportunities. Remember that this transformation isn't just about having more money in your bank account, although that will certainly happen as a result of this work. This is about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts and maintains wealth. It's about developing an inner sense of abundance that no external circumstance can shake. It's about creating a relationship with money based on confidence and flow rather than fear and struggle. When you successfully transform your inner voice about money, you'll find that money becomes a tool for creating the life you want and helping the people you care about, rather than a source of constant stress and worry. You'll make financial decisions from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. You'll see opportunities where others see only obstacles. You'll trust in your ability to create wealth because you'll know that wealth comes from within you, not from external circumstances. This journey of listening within for wealth is ultimately a journey of discovering your own power to create the life you want. When you realize that you can consciously choose what your inner voice says about money, you'll also realize that you can consciously choose what your inner voice says about every other area of your life. This knowledge will set you free from feeling like a victim of your circumstances and empower you to become the conscious creator of your own reality. The wealth that exists within you right now is waiting to be discovered and expressed through your conscious choice to listen within and change the conversation you're having with yourself about money. Your inner voice about money is the key that unlocks your financial potential, and that key is in your hands right now. The only question is whether you'll use it to open the door to the abundant financial life that's waiting for you on the other side. If this video has opened your eyes to the power of listening within for wealth, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content about manifesting abundance through inner transformation. Share this message with someone in your life who could benefit from understanding how their inner voice about money is creating their financial reality. And most importantly, leave a comment below telling me what your inner voice has been saying about money and what you're committed to changing it to starting today. Thank you for taking this journey with me into the hidden world of inner listening for wealth. Remember, the most powerful wealth-building tool you'll ever have isn't found in any investment strategy or business opportunity. It's found in the voice within you that speaks about money. Take care of that voice, program it with abundance, and watch as your entire financial world transforms to match the wealth that was always waiting within you.